What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Building with Big. Today's episode, I'm going to be showing you guys how to do a wizard tower connected to like a little brewery station that you would have. Like, let's say there's a witch who wanted to brew potions. That's what we're doing here today. So before we hop into it, I would like to say I wanted to thank you all. You guys have been great in supporting me. I don't know how long I'll be continuing doing the series this way. I am still trying to learn like the ins and outs of how to do these tutorials while also being able to explain in detail my thought process. And it's just I feel like I have a good grasp on what I want to do. It's just my execution isn't great. So please bear with me as I try to walk you guys through this. I'm doing this tutorial in step-based again. I thought that was the best way of doing it because I want to give you guys these builds that you guys can copy, but I also want you guys to be able to learn how to start designing and building on your own. So that is why I do this. But yeah, before I keep blabbering on, why don't I show you the block palette that I'm using, all the blocks I use in this build, and then I'll walk you guys through the build real quick. All right, here is the block palette. We got some crackstone brick, cobble, and then some other brick blocks, andesite, and then we use very limited spruce logs. Like the logs are very spruce. I think we only use the logs to lay out where the doors of the build will be. Excuse me, sorry. But yeah, I think we only use those spruce strip logs to lay out the door frames of where I want the door frames to be. Jeez, I am not able to speak right now. And then the spruce unstripped logs I use in the flooring, and you guys will see that in a little bit. But mainly the main blocks are probably like the spruce stairs for the roofings, and then we use dark oak for the pillars as well as the stone blocks for the foundations. So that's the main blocks we use, other than the birch, which we use for the upper half of our builds here. So yeah, let's hop right to showing you what the build looks like on the inside. All right, let's head in. So with this design, I wanted to make it really functional. So this is a build you'd use as your own brewery. Now, if you didn't want to do it manually, you could always build an automatic brewery. I just thought it was cool and I wanted to give it more of like a lore. So I have these amethysts, which I use all around the areas that are highly magic based. So you'll see more amethyst where the magic is used. So as you guys can see, we got some floating candles which are being lifted by magic. So we have lots of amethyst here, which I use as kind of like mana crystals. So that's that's why I went with that. And then we have it above the nether wart here, as if like the mana is growing the nether wart faster in the overworld or something, you know. Something a little weird that I wanted to add to this build. We have just some storage and a little more space to take up, you know. So just throw some storage bins somewhere. I also have this to kind of like separate it and also keep it thin, so it's not as if we're using a full block to then have a door in here. But yeah, I wanted to give this room more of like a cluttered room look, so that's why I have all the stairs and it's not like straight across. But you guys can build this however you want, the interior, the exterior, all of this. You don't even have to copy this build if you do not want to. I went with some blue and purple for the flooring. Kind of carpet should go over the flooring to kind of give it more of like a wizard magic-y feel. It's not really magic, but I thought it reminds me of like the colors of a wizard, so I thought it would look nice. So that's the color combo I went with for the bottom floor. Now, if we move up here, I added lots of books because I would think like you'd have lots of potion books, all sorts of different types of books that you would use if you were a witch, and you'd want to keep all of that stuff on point, you know? So I made it so that she could write over here using magic, so she could just use her thoughts to then be translated using magic. So I put a book with a quill here just so like she can create her own books of new potions that she's experimenting with. So that's kind of the idea that I have for the second floor. And then for the third floor is her direct study, or his direct study if you're going with a wizard. And then this is him studying like new potions and then writing down his finds in a journal here, just like a daily journal. So he has this little area up here separate. You could also just turn this into a storage area or not use it at all, but I wanted to give this a little bit more cluttered of a look in this build. So yeah, that's kind of what I went with for up here. And then I wanted to make it so they had easy access over to this like wizard tower slash clock tower. So you can't actually get to this top area through the build. So that's why I kind of made it like a clock tower, and the magic crystals give the magic to the little bell here to make it ring all the time whenever it hits noon or whatever, midnight, it'll ring or something. I don't know. I thought the bell looked nice up here, especially since I didn't have a way of getting you up there realistically because of the size of the build. But yeah, I went with this type of design because I wanted it to have like a wizardy feel, but also have it match with our little brewery station over here. Oh, not to mention on the outside of the brewery, we have a bunch of cauldrons surrounding because, as you know, it takes water to create potions. Oh no, I didn't add anything back here. My bad. That works. Let's go over here real quick. I don't want this to drag on too long, but in here you can see we got more. We got a little enchantment table with some storage up here, so it is useful in your own build. And then if we come up here real quick, we just got storage for the books, like down there. You enchant some books, and then I have more storage going all the way up here, as you guys can see, with a light to give it some light. But yeah, that is the build. So let me hop right to my reasons for each of these steps. I'll show you step by step and also give you the dimensions. I will also try to give you close-ups on these roofs here because I want you guys to have every angle so you can take pictures, you can screenshot, you can do it however you want. So yeah, I will hop right over there to our step one and we can get started. All right, so in this step one here, basically what I do is I frame out the area that I want to build in, and then I frame the size of the build that I want in that area. So as you guys can see, I framed it to where the spruce logs show where I want the doors, and then I have the purple logs, the dark oak logs as like our pillars and foundation of the build. So as you guys can see, I put the stone brick in the ground to show where I wanted the stone foundation to be, and then I have the dark oak for my pillars. So that is what I did here. I will show you on screen right now the dimensions of this build. So hopefully you guys got a screenshot of that, because you guys probably don't want to listen to me this whole time. And then let's head over to our step two. All right, guys, now that we have our 2D structure from step one finished, you got it framed out for the length and width, I want to go on to step two, which is basically height and shape, right? So I start off with the wizard tower because I want this to be the main structure that we focus on, and this is going to also put in perspective the height of the rest of the build, right? So from the very beginning, as you guys can see, I had the two pillars between the two already planned out. I wanted it to be a bridge, and I knew when I was building this that the bridge would have to be at a height where it was realistic to move over to a second floor over here. So I put it at about 5 blocks high, but you guys will see the dimensions in a little bit. So I did this whole build based off of that specifically. So as you guys can see, I tapered it from a wider base all the way up to a much skinnier frame. And with the frame only being about 3x3, you definitely can't get up there very easy unless you have like a wall right here with a ladder going straight to the top. And I wasn't gonna do that. I knew from the beginning I didn't really want a way to get up here, so I had a thought process of making it more of a clock tower up here, so you have the bell up here, right? Which is not there right now, like you guys will see in step 3 and 4. But yeah, that's kind of my general thought process of this. I wanted a general shape, and I wanted the top to be much smaller than the bottom frame, which I believe is like 7x7, but I'm not 100% sure about that, but I'm pretty sure it's 7x7. You guys would have seen over there the length and width of this. So yeah, so that's about it. Let me get you the dimensions here real quick of the front, and then I'll show you the profile dimensions. All right, there's the dimensions for the front. And there's the dimensions for the profile. Perfect. So I'm going to show you the dimensions, and I'll talk about why I chose to go with this type of frame. I did this obviously because we had the bridge planned out. I needed a second floor, but I also didn't want it to be too blocky, because as you can see, when you have an area of this side, it's hard to make anything that's not like a rectangle shape. So I knew I would have to make a rectangle on the bottom side, but I knew that you can like change it up and make it a little bit nicer by adding little height differences. So I planned a like little patio area right here. That's why I have it a little bit shorter. I think that's at about 4 blocks high right there. So that is my general idea for this. And then I had this area set up so we could obviously have the bridge here and this be the second story. And it ends up turning into a 3-story, but it's kind of more of a little nook for the 3rd floor. So that's my that's my decision for this, and I will show you guys the different dimensions from every angle because it's a little bit different from each side. So I'll show you this real quick. All right, so that's the shape and the dimensions for that build. Let's move on to step 3. All right, ladies and gentlemen, on to step 3. And if you have made it this far, I would really like to thank you guys. I know it's pretty hard to follow along with me. I'm not the best at giving these like tutorials and in-depth speeches, I guess, technically. But I do appreciate you guys watching so far. But yeah, let's continue on. So as you guys can see, I added some wood pillaring here. That is to give some color and a little bit more shape. So I had this at 5 height, right? So I didn't want this to look odd by having just like one area that's at a different block height. So I built this specifically because you want to give this shape. So I built this intending to add details later on, like staring, walls, fences, things like that, right? So I built it specifically because I knew I want a stair block right here. So that would bring it up to the height of where this is. So I added a 1 block pillar right here. This block down here is going to change at some point as well, because you want it to have a consistency through the entire build, right? So this is wood here. So this stone block is going to be a wooden stair at some point. So you guys can either break that or you can leave it how it is, because I will go back through and show you. And then up here, as you guys can see, I broke 1 block down from the middle over there, right? So I did that just so we'd have more color and diversity in block palette, right? So it also gives it a nice little structure. So it kind of tapers the sides in at that middle height, as well as this tapers up as well in a different way, right? So I can't really explain it very well, I guess, but yeah, I added these pillars to also shape it and give it a more circular look and a even more tapered look, right? So it gives it a lot of depth and makes it look more round, I guess, than blocky. So I did it that way, and then I put this pillar here to kind of demonstrate the height that I wanted the roof to get to, and then I moved on to here, right? So the general conclusion for this is I wanted to just add walls, because you just want to know what the overall structure is, right? So I added walls. I did the flooring in here so you guys can see the detailed flooring. This is spruce what's it called? Unstripped spruce, as you guys can see. And then this is dark oak, and then also more dark oak, but stripped dark oak logs, right? So that's the flooring for the bottom down here. I just did it because I had a general idea that I wanted this to be a little darker area, so that's why I went with the darker look there. And then I went with a flooring up here. So you go with the floorings to understand how the build's gonna look after it's built, right? So it gives it a little bit more structure. You can see how clean the floor is, and I put the stairs here. I tried it a couple different ways. I tried it with the stairs right on this block, and it just didn't look as nice, so I put it out here, and it just looks and feels a little bit smoother than it did before. So a lot of this will be your own preference. You guys can move all this around, see how you like it. But yeah, I just generally take one block from the block palettes that I'm going to use, and I do the wall. So as you guys can see, I just chose the stone brick because it's easier to lay the walls out and then go back through and add the other blocks from that palette to it. It just makes life a little easier. And then I started with this wall, and I knew I wanted the wall to be at this height, about 3 high. And then I started doing the roof. So I wanted to shape the roof, and that's what I did with this right here. I shaped the sides that I wanted the roof to be, because I wanted the wizard tower to still be taller than this building, but I also wanted this to have a nice little arch. So you do this based off of where you want the stairs. So I usually do stairs on the outside, so that's why I have it right here. And then I do it also based on the point is going to be above, not actually where the wall is. So this is just going to sit under the actual roof, right? So this is just a basic frame. Imagine you come in with a crane and you lower the roof on, right? So that's kind of the general idea of the build. You just want a good shape of what you want the wall to look like for the roof. But yeah, that should be about it for step 3. Let me show you the dimensions of the updated block palettes real quick. And basically it should be the exact same all the way around for this. For here, I'll show you the height for the roof here. There's the updated dimensions, and let me show you the dimensions for this backside just in case. All right, on to step 4. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so the next step is to add the base level of detail, right? So that would be adding roof to the builds, adding the windows, adding the walls, and just a little bit more shape to the build, right? So in my opinion, I wouldn't do all the stairs like this right away, but because I am building a wizard tower, it's a much more complex shape than most regular builds. I do more of the stairs and stuff like that to have a better shape to it that I am going for, right? So that is why I do that extra detail a little bit sooner than I might for a build like this. It just makes my life a little bit easier, and plus it helps with the build and how I want to do the roofing later. But my first opinion would be to lay out where you want the windows first, right? Because once those windows are laid out, it actually adds so much depth to the build and it looks so much nicer, right? That's just my general starting position. Just point out where you want the windows. I knew I had this door here, and I thought it would be very smart to add windows to the same height where the door's at, right? Just because we want it to be somewhat symmetrical, right? Especially these wizard towers that are circular. You definitely want it to be symmetrical. There are little things you can make unsymmetrical, but that will be for a different build later on. But anyways, after you get the windows done, my suggestion, the next step is to go through the walls, right? Switch out the blank little brick for the updated block palette. So my block palette for this build was obviously the stone brick, the andesite, and the mossy stone brick with regular stone, right? So that is my block palette for this, right? And I don't know if I actually showed the regular stone in the chest over there, but yeah, that is part of this block palette for the tower here. I wanted it to be more of like a concrete type look than a like fully man-made build, you know? So that is why I went with that block palette. But other than that, that's kind of what you want to do. You want to go back through, change your walls, your basic walls with the block palette that you chose, right? Same thing for over here. Obviously, I did it for the upper half as well. I didn't really do it for the flooring because I already knew that I wanted to do carpet because I wanted to give this build a little bit more color later on. So I didn't really do it for the upper floor, but I did do it for the lower floor. As you can see here, this is actually spruce, unstripped spruce. And then this is dark oak planks with the dark oak stripped logs. So that is what the flooring in here is. It's surprising how good unstripped spruce looks with dark oak planks. So that's why I went with this. I also wanted it to be a little bit darker down here because I wanted it to have a little bit more of a like magical aura to it, I guess. It is hard to explain. I don't even know if I necessarily got it. I feel like I nailed it, but you guys will determine that in the comments. But yeah, after you get the regular walls, you can then go on to the roofs, right? The shape of the roofs. And for you guys, I'm not going to be able to show you like the exact, I built it this way with these blocks and show you the exact details. So what I will do is I will do like a little fly around going very slow so you guys can see. And I will try to point out specific areas that are certain blocks just so you have an understanding of like which areas are half slabs, which areas are stairs. But other than that, I want to go more into detail with other things, right? So as you guys can see, I have a lot of stairs, a lot of walls, and more shape to this than I do over here, right? I don't have like outside detail right now. It's pretty bland and pretty flat, right? I did it for this build specifically because it is a wizard tower. It's a very circular build and it's tapering, right? So you need more shape to it specifically. So that's why I added the stairs and some walls to give it more shape than this looks like over here. And it's only because I need it to have a specific look. So I start with the extra detail here a little bit sooner. And as you guys can see, I switched out this block right here with a stair. And I added a stair up top. So I did that specifically because we have this over here, right? So I wanted it to all line up at the same height and all be wood. So that was why I went with that design choice. And then I will show you guys now what blocks I used for the roof. And then I'll give you a little fly around. So as you guys can see here, this is a half slab right here. This is a stair. And then those going up are a stair. And it's a full block right under the stair, right? And then there's a lot more full blocks. So I'm going to show you this area right here. Let me just fly around real quick so you can see. You guys can pause whenever, and then I'll show you down here. So this is very simple. It's just upside down stairs and then right side upstairs, right? Nothing too fancy there. And then right here, these are double, what's it called? Double trapdoors. Double trapdoors. Sorry, I can't speak. I apologize if I'm stuttering. I'm saying a lot too. My bad. I did add the fences up here to give it more shape as well because I didn't want it to be full-size blocks, and we don't really have like a vertical half slab. Like if we had a vertical half slab, that would change how people build in this game forever, and I just hope and pray someday they add it. I really do, because a vertical half slab would change the way builds look like for everyone ever. So this is a little half slab underneath here, and then these are upside down stairs as well. But other than that, I'm going to show you the side profile of this house real quick. It's very simple, this build. So this is a stair going across. This is a trapdoor that goes all the way to this block right here. Half slab, and then you could do a full block or double half slab it. sometimes you have more half slabs and you just double half slab it, right? Put a half slab in the middle, half slab on the bottom, so on and so forth. Basically just copy this side, flip it to this side. Let me show you this side real quick. Oh, this is the wrong block. There we go. All right, so this is the shape. We got stairs, upside down stairs, block, stair, stair, block, stair, stair, block, stair, upside down stair, right side up stair to a stair, half slab, so on and so forth. Very simple. And then I just added trapdoors vertically to the side of the full size blocks just to give it a little bit more, just to smooth it out a little bit. And then I do this just so I can put a lantern right here, right in front of the big window. So that's going to help light the inside without having to actually put any lights on the inside. But yeah, that is the general step 2 right there. And then I will show you guys on to step 3. All right, on to step 4. So with this, it's just going to be a little bit more added detail. So I do it this way just because I have a general detail here. I'm going to add more shaped detail down here, as you guys can see, because it was very square before. So we want to give it a little bit more depth and structure, right? So that is basically all you're doing, is adding the added detail, and then you're going to do the interior detail. I think the interior detail is really the least important thing. But to some of you guys might love interior detail, and I am absolutely not the best at it. So please do not judge me or ream me for my interiors, but I do like to have it functional, right? So, but let me go into the detail around my wizard tower here. The main details I added were these fences on the side with the trapdoors on top, right? And then around the windows, I do the window shades, and I do this with a lot of my builds. As you guys can see over on my windmill, I have a lot of these around the windows. I just think it's a nice add to any window, right? So I just did that detail, and I did a lot of the detail with wood to mix up the color scheme. As you guys can see over here, it's a lot of stone and a little bit of wood. So I wanted to add more variation of color through this, just so it's not just bland and only stone looking. So I did that, and then I like with this specific build with the amethyst, I did add it where it's larger, closer to the enchantment table, and the reason is I wanted it to be like very magical based. So like closer to the magical areas is where the amethyst will be larger, because it's much more condensed. So like, let's say the magic in the area is more used in this area, so it condenses down, gets thicker, and then forms these crystals, right? So that's my idea for like the amethyst, like the magic crystals, right? And then it gets smaller the further away from the magical area. So up here, there's still some crystals. That's because technically I had the lore of this bell here being a clock tower, so that's going to ring at noon, and I'm pretty sure I told you that earlier in the video. So please so please bear with me. I might be going over the same things once in a while, but let me show the inside. Yeah, you're basically just adding the detail to the inside and the outside. So that's the detail I added for the outside. And then for over here, I actually added another layer of trapdoors below this layer. I added a upside down stair here, and then a little bit more little details with the trapdoors here. So that's really the general thing I did. A lot of crystals, and I went through this area, so I'm just going to show you what I did up close, just so you can see. This is actually 2 blocks, so it's 2 blocks out of the campfires, right? So I wanted a little bit more depth. So I'm just going to show you in detail. Go slowly. You guys can pause whenever you need to. Don't mind the wandering merchant. And guys, please, if you don't like the way some of these look, it's okay. No need to copy this exactly. You guys can do some of these details on your own. And then obviously I have some, I think these are dark oak signs on the outside just to give it a little bit more depth. I don't know if you guys noticed those, but yeah. And then I added these stairs under the windows just so it has even more depth. So that is what I did. I think I did it up here as well. So you guys can see there's stairs here. And then I'm going to show you guys one last time through the build, and I'm going to be quiet now until the end of the video. All right. So with that being done and you guys seeing all the details here, that's basically it for the build. What I will do is I will show you what it looks like in my Let's Play, just so you guys can see what it looks like surrounded by other builds. In my Let's Play, I haven't detailed a lot of the flooring. I call that environmental detail. I usually do that very, very last because you want the builds to look nicer before you do any of the environmental builds, right? So I will hop over to my Let's Play world and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So as you guys can see, this is what it looks like in its place here in my world. It looks very nice in my opinion where I placed it. So as you guys can see, I have it laid out exactly the size that I wanted it and in the exact location. So this is the area that I planned for this, and you guys finally get to see it if you do follow along with my Let's Play. And if you have made it this far and have enjoyed, I'd like to thank you guys so much for sticking around. And if you did make it this far, please leave a like and subscribe. But yeah, this is what it looks like in the Let's Play world. And just a tidbit for all you that made it this far and do watch my Let's Play world, I do have plans for this little area here and here. So the environmental that I was talking about, I'm going to add a lot more environmental builds to this world. It's not very detailed with like trees yet, but I will be starting to do some custom trees for my world, and I have lots of big plans, so please stick around. But let's get back to first person real quick, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Bye!